What it is, Brad Lea back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs today in the studio, folks. Joe Malone. What's going on, Joe?
What's up, brother?
If you guys don't know Joe Malone, you can find him on Instagram, Joseph_Malone_official. Facebook, just look up Joe Malone. I can't believe you're the only Joe Malone on Facebook.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but I got to it first.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then YouTube, Joe Malone Training. TikTok, JM_training. And Twitter, JM Training X.
Yeah, X at the end, yeah.
Dude, can I give you a tip?
Make it all the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should just be freaking Joe Malone official. Even if like you own Joe Malone, like I just continue the branding all the way through.
Yeah, that's the goal. I've made a couple of name changes in the last couple of years, and now that I'm verified with the blue check mark, they don't make it easy to change your stuff. So I'm in the process of doing it though.
Well, your life hasn't been easy.
Whose is?
Why are you looking for an easy way out now?
I mean, whose is? I'm not looking for an easy way. You got to learn lessons, man.
See, so guys, this dude, Marine, ex-Marine, former Marine. Damn, where's my damn readers? I gotta get this freaking almost read word for word. This is crazy, dude. Obviously, you grew up in Chicago and you first started issues with substance abuse.
Oh yeah.
Now, what kind of substance abuse?
Every drug.
Like what?
Heroin, crack.
Heroin?
Yeah, first time I shot up heroin, I was 17.
You shot it up?
Yeah, I was 16, 17 years old.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
That's hardcore shit.
It's hard to talk about, too, because, like, when my mom and dad... Well, my dad doesn't really watch this type of stuff, but when my mom does, like, it hurts her.
Yeah, but look, why does it hurt her? If, Mom, you're listening, this shouldn't hurt you. Why? Because of how he turned out.
Right. And that's...
And by the way, you might not have turned out this way had you not went through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just puts things in perspective for her, stealing money out of her purse and all that type of shit. So,
you were an addict. And by the way, haven't we all stole money out of our mom's purse?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've all stolen as much as I unfortunately have, but a lot of valuable lessons came out of it. And I just got involved with the wrong crowd, man. Like a really disgusting group of what I now would view as pedophile pieces of trash.
Pedophile?
Yeah, manipulating young kids. We're 15, 16 years old. These dudes are 50, 57 years old having sex with these girls that I'm like chasing and stuff. And it was wild, man. Like I've been in houses that were raided and these dudes.
Where'd you live? Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up on the southwest like cusp, right on the edge of the city in this really cool town. It's called Willow Springs. It's like right where the forest begins outside of the city, and it's crazy.
What's
mafia
the nearest
history.
city?
Chicago.
Okay.
It's right there. And it's got crazy mafia history, like insane up until, well, currently, if you ask me, but our police chief was arrested for accessory to homicide back in 92 because the mafia killed Diane Masters, which was the Cook County, so the county of Chicago.
Dude, you better not say this. You might have to use your training, your lethal training.
Dude, well, the book's already been written, so I'm not too worried about it.
All right.
But it's got a really crazy corrupt history, that's for sure. So.
Chicago? Absolutely.
Well, and my town specifically.
Yeah, Willow Springs.
Yeah, Willow
Sounds like some sort of movie set.
That's, I think, the idea. Like they wanted to.
Okay, so you were into heavy drugs. Because most people laugh when I say this, but I say I just did all the normal stuff like coke, meth, acid, mushrooms.
Oh, yeah.
Weed.
Yeah.
But I never did heroin. And I think it was because me and my buddy would go over to his mom's house, and his mom was a heroin junkie, and she would be on heroin, and she'd be what they call nodding.
And scratching.
And then she'd puke.
Yeah.
And then she'd want to do it again. And I'm like, why would you want to puke? I hate being nauseous.
Piss and shit yourself.
But anyway, so I never got into it, thankfully, but I tried, other things. What was the purpose of heroin? Like your friends are doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah. I just got involved with the wrong group.
So you weren't an athlete?
No, not in high school. Dude, my high school was so weird. I played sports up until freshman year. And then in freshman summer camp for football, they were like teabagging each other. And I was like, this is gay. And I quit the sports team.
I agree.
My dad didn't believe me, so he got like really pissed. And then about a year later, a bunch of the kids got arrested and charged with like sexual assault and stuff. And so my dad kind of looked at me and was like, all right, I guess I understand. So,
now, who is your dad at this point?
he's a
Like upstanding citizen, Marine?
Yeah, no. He works for the FDIC, so he's very conservative guy, very risk averse.
So he wasn't happy that you're a druggie.
No, not at all. I mean, what parent really would be? But no, he did not
Druggies.
really. Yeah, that's true actually. But he was not happy with the direction my life was going. But he's always provided. He always loved me, not really expressively, but through his action.
Yeah.
You know, he worked his ass off.
What about mom?
Mom was a free spirit. I think I take after her a lot. She grew up on a cattle farm up in Michigan, left when she was 19. And she's always encouraged me to, explore life and to do things and to take calculated risks.
Dude, you not knowing your background much, you seem like a clean cut freaking person. Like, I'm surprised to be hearing this background.
Yeah. Well, you come hang out with me for a week, we go camping or some shit, man, and things come out pretty quickly.
So at 19, obviously you found the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Semper Fi.
Yeah, right on, man.
Now, what happened to get you in the Marines? Did you get arrested and that was an alternative?
No, my best friend, John, he joined and I saw his transformation. So it's pretty crazy. I was actually just at a charity event down in Austin, Texas for this drug. It's not like a rehab program, but it is. It's the best one I've ever seen in my life. It's called Communities for Recovery. And it was the 20th year anniversary. Well, 20 years ago, my buddy John, who was more than a brother to me, stopped me from hanging myself underneath this bridge we used to hang out under. 20 years ago, now we're sitting at this rehab facility, this charity event. And he joined a few months after that incident. I saw his transformation. I saw what was possible. He wasn't as involved in the heavy stuff as I was, but just to see what could be done in life, it really opened up my perspective to like, maybe I don't have to die in some alleyway somewhere. Maybe I don't have to be some washed up photographer. And, so this painstaking artist that for some reason I was hell bent on being.
Is that what how you were doing?
I guess, man. I don't fucking know, dude.
There's nothing wrong with that, dude.
I mean, there was the way I was doing.
Go
it.
ask Peter Lick if there's something wrong with that.
I mean, I don't know who that is, but
Peter Lick, bro.
I hope he's a healthy, positive individual.
This dude sometimes spends 9 months to get one picture,
like National Geographic or something.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's
and then he'll take that picture back to his studio and basically create Peter Lick original copies, if that even makes sense.
Yeah.
And sells them for ridiculous amounts of money. And dude, he's got Peter Lick art galleries all over the world. That's so cool. I mean, you could have ended up that as a photographer.
Potentially. Yeah.
But you were suicidal. You were done basically.
Yeah. I was lost, man. I was spun out of control mentally, emotionally. And it was just because of
how did he stop you from hanging from a tree?
Well, from under the bridge.
Yeah, from under the bridge.
There was a pipe under there, and I had a belt, and I was just drunk and stupid and strung out. And he ended up. We used to link up. We called it the J spot. So I had this group of friends: John, James, Joe, and Justin, and we used to hang out under a bridge, like just straight up. We would spend every day under a bridge on a train track underneath the 294 expressway, and
would people say, "Hey, I'll meet you under the bridge"?
Well, we would say the J spot, and nobody knew what the J spot was. It would drive everybody crazy. They were like, "What's the J spot?" And we were like, "We can't tell you." I mean, this is like through high school and shit.
And everybody under there started with a J?
Yeah. And so he just walked. We used to always just go under there because we'd like leave weed or little tinners or something. We'd smoke out of it, and sometimes if we were trying to get like a hit of weed or something, we'd go under there and drink some booze. But he just ended up walking up there while I was up there and saw me and was like, "What the hell?"
So you were all druggies?
To a degree or another, yeah, like weed and some coke and drinking.
Yeah, but still, that environment, it's hard not to when all your buddies are freaking doing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you saw two dudes hit the Marines and like maybe come back just, straightened up and clean and looking fresh, and you said, "Hey, man, that's an alternative."
Well, I saw John graduate boot camp. So I flew out to California with his family, and when I saw him march across that parade deck, something hit me, man.
Was he honor guide?
No, but
see, when I was in there, my only goal was to be honor guide.
Yeah.
And 11 weeks in, they snatched honor guide on purpose, which pissed me off.
Huh.
But dude, listen, it's a funny story because you're telling me, because dude, I mean, again, not so extreme as you, not in Chicago, but the Pacific Northwest, we got similar, I think, childhoods, just not as extreme as yours.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I know you Northwesterners like to get down on those shrooms growing in the woods, man.
Well,
like,
dude, who wouldn't?
I mean,
and not only that, I attribute all the acid and shrooms that I've taken to my capacity.
I will say it does. I just went down to Colombia actually back in January, and it was such a shady trip, dude. Met up with the Kofan tribe in the Amazon rainforest along the Ecuadorian border, and I drank some ayahuasca. And
did you shit yourself?
No, I didn't shit myself. No.
I keep hearing stories of you shit yourself and you're puking. I'm like, see, never, not gonna do it.
That didn't happen to me at all. It actually wasn't that intense. And I
did you meet Mother Earth, or what is she called?
Dude, it wasn't. So I've tripped like hard. Like I accidentally took like 8 hits of acid once in the Badlands of South Dakota, like crazy.
Well, I've taken 10 hits acid intentionally.
Well, I thought I was getting ripped off, you know, like I got it for $5 from these greasy hippies, and so I thought it was fake, but it wasn't. I couldn't listen to Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon for like 10 years after that. But anyways, it wasn't that intense, honestly. Like it was the ancient ritual kind. Like it wasn't what do you call it? Extracted or concentrated. So it was a thing, but I do think that when you utilize certain substances, it can help expand, you know, break down certain barriers and limitations of belief. I mean, look at all the stuff they're doing with veterans right now with like MDMA and microdosing. Yeah, it you know, it shuts down certain neural pathways in the brain associated with emotional tethers based off those experiences, which allows you to think more objectively. So I do think that there could be benefits. I just wasn't using it for any of that when I was younger.
So these guys come out, you watch the graduation, and you're like, dude, I like this. Let me see if this is a option. And you joined.
I didn't even say that. I turned to John's little brother. I handed him 2 fresh packs of smokes, and I said, here, you can keep these. And he was like, why? I'm joining the Marines. 1 year to the day, I was marching across the same parade deck.
As a graduate, were you honor guide?
No, I was a squad leader, though. I got promoted, which I always rubbed in John's face.
So then Special Operations Command and completing 7 deployments.
Yeah.
Active, like seeing war?
4 of them. So 4 of them were more humanitarian. Did some time on a Navy ship. We did respond to some pretty jacked up stuff. Like there was a cyclone in Burma, killed like 50,000 people, and the junta wouldn't let us do anything. So these bodies were just like rotting all over the place. But mostly a lot of training. We did some pretty cool missions, but
never were in war though.
Yeah, my last several deployments were Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, all that stuff. And
where there was shit going on.
Dude, we got to do some pretty cool shit, man. Yeah, it wasn't the most. I'm never gonna sit here and say, oh, I've got the greatest combat stories by any means, because the dudes who were in that community,
like Black Hawk Down. Yeah,
no, nothing like that. But I did get attached to some high level units, and we did do some. I mean, dude, it was fucking nuts.
Now you had to have had fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Because to me, dude, that gets me jealous. Like, dang, dude, like I would have loved to. Now I wanted to get home safely with no issues. And you know, there's a lot of soldiers out there that went and sacrificed and then came back and they've got literally mental issues or physical issues. Yeah. So barring all that, obviously, it just sounds fun. But that's because maybe I play Call of Duty and I'm just imagining the coolness of it.
It is, man. Like you train for the NFL and then you get drafted and you want to play the game. The only difference is that in this game, it's for keeps. And you remember pretty intensely the first time you get shot at and the first time you see a dude's face get blown off. And you're just like, okay, this is real. And, you know, then the worst part about all that is when, you know, an American goes down. Like, okay, now why are we here? That's really when you start to reflect on things. And of course, now you look at the botched ass withdrawal from Afghanistan, where we just handed over $80 billion in military technology.
Well, not to get this episode suppressed, but again, I mean, dude, to me, That was all intentional.
Yeah.
That was all part of the deal.
I think
Like
so.
nobody leaves that shit behind.
No. I would get
unless they agreed to.
I would get NJP, like non-judicial punishment. I would lose rank if I lost my night vision goggles. I had a guy yell at me because I lost a flashlight in Afghanistan. He said, "Why didn't you go looking for it?" "Oh, just go picking random stuff off the ground in Afghanistan." Like, it's just stupid stuff, man.
Yeah, well, to me, that's the government.
It is. And that's a big reason. Well, I got kicked out, but ultimately I was going to get out anyways.
Yeah, so what did you get kicked out for? So you went on all these tours. You were in Special Operations Command, and apparently you were in sniper school.
Yeah.
And then you got booted.
Yeah. So
For what?
Man, the dumbest. It's not even like a cool story. I had a choice to go to the MARSOC Advanced Sniper course or go to the Marine Corps Basic Sniper School. Marine Corps Basic Sniper School was always was a thing that I wanted to do, like from the very day that I got in the Marine Corps. And so I went, but they're like very keepers of the badge there. Well, I was professional, kept it totally cool, helped mentor the young bucks coming up in there, like giving them all that I could. I had 6 deployments at the time, like 10, 11 years in. Well, I got promoted. And in sniper school, they make people do a bunch of dumb stuff during your promotion ceremony. And I just didn't want to put the dudes through that. So I put on my rank that I had the papers for. Like I was promoted. And there was a misunderstanding on an assignment. And the first sergeant was like, "Who promoted you?" And I lied. I said, "Oh, this captain down the street." And of course, this loser had nothing better to do. Goes, investigates it. Dude, it blew up, man. And I ended up getting kicked out of school with 4 days left.
Why'd you lie, though?
Because I knew that they were going to make a big deal out of it if I just said I put it on. Like, I don't know why I lied, to be honest, because I actually it really bothered me that I lied. I don't lie. Like, that was actually the start of a really big cycle of BS that I ended up having to endure. I don't know why, Brad. Honestly, I think it was divine intervention. I really, truly think God made me lie in that moment, 100%, because I don't do things like that, but I just did.
Well, maybe it was the devil.
I don't
why,
think so.
Why are you blaming God? Because it turned out good.
Yeah, I'm not blaming God.
I know, but you're
grateful.
saying God did it because it ended up turning out good as a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't know if God would make you lie.
Well, something influenced me to do something that I wouldn't normally do reflexively. And
So you said, but I was actually promoted.
I was, yeah.
So then why couldn't you say who promoted you?
Because nobody did.
Well, then how are you actually promoted?
Could you get like the paper, like the, "Hey, here's your promotion certificate." My team chief back on the East Coast, because I was in California,
Well, why didn't you just show them that?
because I didn't physically have that paper, but it existed. But in the Marine Corps, the first line in the promotion manual, I know because I went and looked, it says that the promotion isn't official until you have a commissioned officer put it on you.
Ah,
And so that's,
so you were getting ready to be promoted.
I
and
mean,
you jumped the gun, stuck
yeah.
that motherfucking insignia on
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
And that's a no-no, apparently.
Dude, it'll ruin your career. Like,
Well, dude, I mean, listening to it, it's like, no, dude, you got excited. It's almost like, I have a honorary police badge. That'd be like me using that to go investigate something.
I don't know if it's the same.
It's the same. Like that. I mean, it's my badge, bro. I can show you when we get off here, the sworn, document where I am sworn in as an officer.
Okay.
I am a straight up police officer because I was sworn in.
Okay.
So, and given a badge. So I could technically go use it because you were promoted. You got the certificate.
Yeah.
But that, like, I know that's not a real badge and this isn't a real promotion until a freaking officer pins it on you.
Well, I didn't know that until after shit hit the fan.
Even though it is stupid to ruin a dude's career over freaking being proud to want to wear the thing. But whatever.
Yeah.
So you got kicked out.
Yep.
But then it says here, then you went back to heavy substance abuse post-military.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
military didn't kick your ass into shape either.
No, I kicked my own ass into shape, man. Like,
so what made you go back to the heavy substance? Getting kicked out?
I mean, so everything just caught up to me at that point. You're looking at 13 years of just deploying constantly.
In that structure and that, knowing exactly where you fit and what you do. And then when you get out, I hear a lot of times soldiers that transition out after a while, they don't really have any structure and they don't like it.
That's a part of it. For me, it was more like the intensity of everything. And all of a sudden, there was a lot of survivor's guilt. There was a lot of relational things going on. And the entire time, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like some straight-laced dude. I'm still slugging back bottles of booze, going on deployment, training, jumping out of planes, running, all over town, just doing crazy shit.
But you weren't doing drugs in the military.
No. Well, I don't know what I could really say on here.
Well, you're kicked out now. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I'll just say that I walked around with a clean bottle of piss taped to the inside of my leg for like 2 years.
I got you.
And I had to use it 4 times.
So now you're out. You got kicked out, which that ain't good.
No.
And then you said, screw it, I'm going to go back to heavy substance, not like heroin or anything.
No, it was just like prescription meds. And it wasn't even like I did it intentionally. It was that I got put into the traumatic brain injury clinic and, went through that process of getting separated. And
living in a tent.
Well, that was after I got separated, yeah. I mean, I just went off the rails, man. I was doing all this high-risk stock options trading. I made a bunch of money. I thought I was a prodigy. Then I realized I wasn't really quickly. Lost all my life savings. I was just a lot of survivor's guilt, man. I felt very guilty because when I got kicked out of sniper school, I got kicked off my team. And my team was on an aircraft that crashed. And had I not been kicked out, I don't sit here and be like, oh, I should have been on that plane. But at the same time, it's like a weird thing, right?
That's what you mean by God made you lie.
Yeah. And, it just is what it is. And so I try to live life purposefully now, but.
That's the headline to the episode.
Live life purposefully.
God made him lie.
All right. I'll take that. That seems like a eye catcher.
It's a grabber. It's a hook. It's what's known as a hook.
It's a good hook. But yeah, man, just ended up drinking and popping pills and, I wasn't going down a very positive road.
Dude, this is crazy because I can picture it, and you don't seem to fit that, which is crazy because you never know who's like that.
It's the power of the mind.
There's a lot of people out there like that.
Yeah,
and I feel bad for them. But what'd you do? So you decided, hey, once again, you've escaped.
Yeah.
How'd you escape? Now this says. You were inspired by motivational figures like Ed Milet, Tony Robbins. Then politely you added me, Brad Lea.
That wasn't polite.
What, you were watching me back in those days?
I watched an interview with you and Ed Milet.
Yeah.
And you were talking about active listening. And I was like, man, that's like a really, really good point. You talked about, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a coin thing that you used. And I was like, man, who is this guy? And then I saw your book. I was like, The Hard Way. I was like, oh, this dude knows what it's like to mess up constantly too. And then that's when I really started falling into your work. And, I don't even know how that whole thing transpired. I've never owned a TV in my whole life. I never would be a YouTube person. But one day I randomly got this Earl Nightingale video on my YouTube. I started listening to it, this old dude. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And from there, I just started that in conjunction with the neuroscience that I was learning being in the brain injury clinic. I started marrying it all up together, man. And
so just for people listening, and in case you don't know this yet, you know what that's called? You discovered personal development.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
This makes it sound like you were just inspired. No, dude, he was watching a few videos, listening, made him look around. He's like, wait a minute, what's this Earl Nightingale, like one of the grandfathers of it all?
Yeah.
And then you started delving into personal development. And dude, that's why people need to understand personal development, dude, saves lives every day without getting credit.
Everything. If you're not developing yourself as a person, then you're a ship without a rudder, just fluttering through the ocean, giving way, hoping that you possibly make it somewhere. For real.
No, it's fact. And then people are like, you're just trying to get me to buy your course. It's like, dude, I don't give a shit if you buy my course. Buy somebody's course.
Look at your life.
Start reading books. Start paying attention to the people before you that have already done it because they're all saying the same shit.
Dude.
They're literally all saying the same shit.
You can go from being a teenager that shoots up dope to a special operations Marine to a dude ready to blow his brains out every single day on the beach for weeks on end, putting the gun in your mouth, falling asleep with it in your mouth, finger on the trigger, to living a life of just insane abundance. I mean, I can never go back to the person that I was. If my whole family, God forbid, something happened to them, I would still never go back to that because I've learned the power of the mind and how our habits literally create our life. and you become unstoppable.
See what I mean, though? Like, dude, people need to hear that.
Yeah.
And my course, by the way, you can find, no, just joking. But now you guys probably are thinking, hey, I know where this is leading. Joe's got a mindset course. No, Joe doesn't have a mindset course. When you heard me say JM_training for his TikTok and YouTube, Joe Malone training, dude, you ended up figuring out how to teach people how to live lethal, basically.
Yeah.
The lethal lifestyle.
Yep.
Meaning protect yourself, be a badass, handle weapons, be prepared.
Yep.
So do you deal with a lot of preppers or no?
A little bit. Yeah.
Because now this is what you do for a living. You're training people how to be badasses, handle weapons better, knives,
yep.
evasion. I don't even know everything, but you teach people the lethal lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Founded kind of off the tenets of what's called Bushido, which is the Japanese name for way of the warrior, which is how the samurais lived their life. And throughout history, it varied a little bit in terms of like what the tenets were, but basically it was like the code of ethics for their society. Like, hey, be a good person, beautify all things in life, know how to defend things and the people that you love and lead by example, embody that and embrace it. And when you do, life's a pretty beautiful thing. And so when I started to try to figure out how I wanted to do this, because there's so many different little facets to it all, I was like, all right, well, I'll teach people concealed carry. That's like the easiest thing I could do. So I started teaching people concealed carry, and I started to learn, man, Brad, I was telling actually somebody this morning, after one of my events, I had a young girl come up to me, and this wasn't a concealed carry class. This was a women's safety seminar I was given. And she told me that she had been raped. And you can imagine a young woman dealing with the effects of that. And it just happened like 6 weeks prior. I don't know what to tell this girl. Like, I'm not ready for that. So for some reason, I thought, okay, well, let's get you some firearms training. For some reason, I just was like, that's, I think, the best and the quickest way to start to rebuild your confidence, because you need to establish security. Besides air, security is the most basic necessity of human individual, of all living things. You don't get to drink water if you don't have security. You can't eat if you don't have security. You can't do anything if you don't have security. So we needed to really reestablish that within herself. Dude, I got a message, man, and I'll send it to you if you want me to. I think it was like 2 months later. She told me she had opened her blinds for the first time in 6 months because she had found herself again, like being able to
9mm on their hip does that.
Dude, I think she was using a 380. But it's just, we need to know as people how to take care of ourselves. And when we do know how to take care of ourselves, it actually opens our hearts and our minds up to other people, because we don't have to live in a consistent state of anxiety. Because it's like, if you try something to me, I at least know I could put up a damn good fight. And when you have that type of belief system in yourself, it bleeds over in every other area of life. And when I started to see that with people, I was like, okay, I'm onto something. How do I scale this? And that's when I ended up reaching out to you and your people over here at Lightspeed. And then I ran into another problem again. I was like, how am I going to format this? And that's why I decided to start with home safety and security, because if we could secure our home, if we could lead our family by example and cultivate that culture, now we really have a strong foundation generationally to where we can keep ourselves and our loved ones and ultimately society safe. So that's kind of how that's evolved.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, dude, that's you would think, man, he's got mindset training. You should probably throw a little of that in there.
I've thought about that. I do some speaking for, you know Vistage, you ever hear of Vistage? Yeah. So I do some speaking for them, and I'm currently doing this course called Bulletproof Personal Safety Secrets of a Special Operations Marine. But I've actually been thinking about doing more mindset stuff for.
Well, I just add it. I mean, there's, believe it or not, a big market for mindset. There's a lot of people walking around with no confidence, low self-esteem, no self-worth.
Oh, yeah.
And if you just change that, it changes their entire existence.
Elevates.
But I like the safety thing, because especially nowadays, dude, the laws are becoming unupheld.
It's insane.
Like, there's home invasions, shit that's happening constantly, and it seems to be getting worse.
It is.
But if it continues to get worse and worse and worse, eventually even maybe with some sort of, social decline, like, like that's happening.
Yeah.
To where now, dude, you live in a dangerous town no matter where you live. And you better know what you're doing. Your house better be prepared. You better understand the basic tenets of protection.
Absolutely. And that was the second reason why I decided to go with home defense, because I knew we were going to launch it in 2024, election year. We all saw what the hell happened back in 2020. So I assume something similar is going to happen. And what we are seeing right now is that you get these groups of migrants. Have you seen like the 9, 10, 12 migrants from these criminal enterprises in like Ecuador and stuff? They're going around now. You literally have 10 people breaking into your home, stealing your shit, and they haven't necessarily been attacking families yet. But what really concerns me is
if 10 people are breaking in at once, you're kind of screwed.
No, you're not. You're not screwed.
Well, you would be if I didn't know what to do.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, dude. It's so easy. It's so easy. And just
see, like what if people are listening, they're like, how do I protect 10 dudes breaking in at once?
Dude, it's so, God, I cannot stress this enough. It's
you got to
so
get
easy.
the film where your window don't break.
Nope, not even. There are what we call the 4Ds, the 4 pillars of home defense. You want to deter, you want to detect, delay, and then ultimately have the ability to defend. And when you implement and institute these 4 pillars, which is all that we talk about within the home safety, course that we're releasing, you're able to, well, one, if you deter them, that's the name of the game. They don't want to go to your house, so your neighbor's house looks more enticing, so they go there, and hopefully they can defend themselves. But if they do break in, you want to be able to detect them immediately. And it's very easy to do that these days. And then if you detect them, you want to delay them just by a few moments. And that's very easy to do. Now, if you get 10 dudes breaking into your home, there's a concept in the military that we used to train on for close quarters battle. Anytime we're going into a house or a compound, it's called the fatal funnel. And it's the channelized area, that choke point, where you need to go through, in essence, a doorway in order to get to X, Y, or Z objective. So if we're making entry into a home, that doorway is the most dangerous part of this whole entire operation, because you have to make it through there and you can't go left or right. You have to go straight, potentially right into bullets. So most homes are designed with like a staircase or with like a hallway leading to the bedroom area. Not all of them, but most of them. And when you can learn about geometries of fire and what you could do to create a fatal funnel in your home, dude, it's game over. It doesn't matter if there's 10 fucking dudes. As long as you have enough ammo, you could sit there all day long. And I've seen this in Iraq. This son of a bitch, I'm so jealous. One of the SEAL teams that we were with, this guy killed like 20 or 35 dudes, ISIS guys. Just all of them kept running out of this alleyway. He was just sitting. They had to bring in a front end loader after the battle was done to lift up all these bodies. That is how many people you could defend your home against if you properly implement the fatal funnel concept. It's crazy. But most people don't know.
What about all the felons in the world that they're not allowed to have guns?
Yeah. Right. Oh, you mean like now they're responsible and they want to be homeowners, or you just talking about why do criminals have guns?
Not criminals. Just because you're a felon doesn't make you a criminal.
No, absolutely. And I have a lot of friends who,
have felonies.
A lot of them still are criminals, but
yeah, but like there's a lot of people that have committed a crime and now they're good people. So yeah. I mean, just because you made a mistake in the past doesn't make you a lifelong criminal.
Yeah, 100%.
So a felon is no longer allowed to have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So unless of course he gets presidential pardon or something, but most felons, which there's a lot of them,
that are living good lives.
Well, of course they are.
Yep.
But they can't own a gun, which means now they can't have a funnel of death.
Yeah. And
so what would someone with no weapons, or at least guns, I should say, do to protect their house?
So you are at a disadvantage.
I assume I got some felons listening.
I mean, it's, dude, I'm a huge believer in second and sometimes even third chances, and it really does.
Well, dude, you're a felon. You just didn't get caught.
Oh, bro.
You're a straight up felon, bro.
For real.
Yeah. I mean, you probably sold drugs, bought drugs, done all kinds of shit.
Broke into houses, broke into sheds.
You just weren't caught.
Absolutely. 100%.
So that's why when, people always come to me with, I can't, I had a felony back in, 2008. And it's like, that's your excuse, bro. Like a felony, like who gives a shit?
It does suck because a lot of employers judge people on that stuff.
Then start your own business.
And that's the beauty of being in America, right? Like you could actually do that. You can start your own business and you can create and you could help other people.
Or get into sales, dude. Sales professions don't care if you're a fucking felon.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't care if you're a druggie. They don't care. Like what they want to know is, can you sell my product or service? And if you can, I'll give you a fucking commission.
100%. I've hired dudes who had felonies before in the past.
All felons, by the way, that feel like you're just, can't go to work, come work for me.
There you go. And hit me up too if you need a sales job, because that tells me you've at least got balls to do something. You're not just going to be sitting there timid all day long. It's like, all right, cool. You're not a pushover, depending, I guess, on what the felony was. But
dude, I know a guy right now doing a VT with Lightspeed. Fucking bank robber.
What's his course?
Sales.
Interesting.
Sales training. He was a fucking bank robber. Hooked on drugs. Went and robbed a bank. Got caught.
Did you interview him?
Yeah.
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, Luke Lunk. And then he went out and freaking some dude, gave him a little belief and put him in the car business. And then he, was amazing at sales and built a whole dealership group. And, now he's a, multimillionaire car dealer. But, it's the sales training that he's teaching that got him there.
That's cool.
But again, I mean, technically he's a felon. He can't have a gun.
Yeah.
Now, a bat, what do you call it? Crossbow. What can they have to protect their house?
So you are going to be at a slight disadvantage because if they got guns,
you're screwed.
Fuck. I mean, you better have a pretty good safe room or something at that point, which, sucks. But what I recommend for people to do, because there's also people who just aren't comfortable with having a gun in the house because they're just a lot of people, dude, I live in Illinois, man.
But come on. If anybody listening isn't comfortable having a gun in the house, you should understand how uncomfortable you should be without a gun in the house.
Well, and that's the byproduct of living in the greatest emergency management system ever created in the history of mankind. We have so much ignorance in America because we're so used to calling the cops and living in a safe society. But the rest of the world ain't like this, dude. Like, people don't get it. Like 90% of the world, maybe even more, is not like that. But what I would recommend they do is, so there's a thing called the Byrna pepper pellet launcher. And what this thing does is it shoots like paintballs, but with pepper and CS like gas and spraying them 600 feet per second. Dude, I haven't had
That's a bullet.
I haven't had to use one of these yet. But when you think about like a peeping Tom, right? Somebody who you necessarily can't just shoot because it doesn't justify deadly force, but you blast that fool in the face with that thing. And something tells me that you're going to feel at least a little bit better afterwards. So I recommend they do something like that. There's also shoulder fired designs. So it looks like a AR-15, but it fires those pepper pellets, and they're not classified as firearms because they're CO2 operated. So that would be my first recommendation.
What are those called again?
Byrna pepper pellet launcher or something like that. I don't know the official name. That's just what I call it. That's what I call it in the course too. And then also Sabre has, and then canisters of mace. Dude, they got these big old canisters out there that are like small fire extinguishers. And
so I'd be more uncomfortable with those in the house. Like, what if somebody accidentally sprays it?
Yeah, that would
suck.
Well,
what about a gun, Brad? What if somebody accidentally shoots it? You put a gun in a gun safe. You put a gun behind lock and key.
Yeah. Or there's ways to safely store it and tactically store it as well. And this is what I also break down. How do you store a gun safely in the house?
Safe.
And you can, but let's say that you want to be able to access it a little bit faster than that. Well, yes. Which actually I will. When I'm like doing yard work, sometimes I'll have a gun on me, dude, because in the suburbs where I'm at, they'll come in your house through your garage in the middle of the day on Sunday and they'll hold people up.
Dude, 24/7, there should be a gun on people.
That I would disagree with.
Why? When shouldn't you have one?
I'll tell you. So
like airport and shit. Yeah. But I'm talking about when
true.
You can, why would you not?
So I don't recommend people keep guns within one arm's reach of their bed while sleeping.
Why?
Tell you a story.
Because you're sleeping and they'll get the gun from you.
No.
What?
Acetylcholine.
Acetylcholine.
In 2020, when the riots broke out, I was running all over the place trying to keep businesses from getting burned down. I slept 9 hours in 7 days. Came home, it was like 6 a.m. My wife said something about going to the store. I crashed. Woke up a couple hours later, starving. I look out my window to see if my wife got back from the store yet, right? It's like 8 a.m., 10 a.m. It's like the first nice day of the year out. We don't even know our neighbors yet because we moved in during COVID in the wintertime. So we don't even know our neighbors, right? So everybody's outside, and I see my wife in my work truck, which was kind of weird because she was afraid of guns when we first moved in together. She's not anymore. She yelled at me yesterday for not having one yet. And I was like, okay, well, maybe she's just being a sweetheart, right? Well, truck door closes. It's not my wife, dude. It's some random fucking dude wearing a fedora waving to my neighbors as he's lollygagging down my street towards the bike trail. Well, I threw on the shortest, not on purpose, but I just threw on like the shortest pair of silky shorts that I own by accident. My hair is like everywhere. My eyes are sunk. I look like a psychopath, probably, because I haven't slept and I'm exhausted. But I'm bloodthirsty, angry at this guy because my truck got broken into a couple months prior and I had some stuff stolen. So I'm thinking this is the dude in the middle of the day waving to my neighbors, brazen little, So I end up going charging down my street, bro. I mean, my nuts are probably hanging out the side of these shorts. They're so short. My neighbors are taking their kids and pulling them inside, thinking I'm like a threat or something. And I chase this dude down to the end of the street, and I start screaming at him. And before I could grab him, he collapsed in the dirt because he was so petrified at the psycho he just saw chasing him. And I was like, "What were you doing in my truck?" He's like, "I wasn't in your truck." I was like, "I know you were in my truck." He's like, "I wasn't. Something didn't feel right." So I run back home. I look at my cameras. I got 20 cameras around my property. I pull up my camera feed. He never even stepped foot on my property, Brad. He never even stepped foot on my property. And so I broke down. I was like, oh my God, I felt so, I actually almost turned myself into the police to find the guy to apologize. My wife came home from the store finally and she was like, you need to go to fucking bed. But I started doing some research as to what happened. Acetylcholine is one of these hormones where when you're sleeping, it causes you to have dreams. Well, when you wake up and you're all groggy and you're kind of seeing stuff, it's because you still have this influx of it in your system, and adrenaline, cortisol, it needs to kind of flush out of your system a little bit. Well, can you imagine if I would have chased this dude down with a gun in my hand? Different story. I am in jail, or something worse happened because I was straight up hallucinating. So from that point forward, my recommendation to people always is store the weapon system in a place that you can get to it, but you need to take at least 2 or 3 steps to get to it. Let that adrenaline, if you're woken up from something, let that adrenaline flush out that acetylcholine so you're not seeing things. And then I also recommend you store it in what's called condition 3 or condition 2, depending upon the type of gun. So magazine inserted, but no round in the chamber, or shells in the tube, shell on the feed tray, but no shell in the chamber if it's a shotgun. That way you have to get up, take a step or two, and then you actually have to consciously rack that weapon system, load the bullet or the shell into the chamber. Now you're ready to observe, see what's happening, and you don't make any mistakes. So that would be a time that I would recommend not to.
Well, just by reaction, if I grab the Mossberg street sweeper, because I think that sound does all the scaring. And if it doesn't, well, now you're glad there's one in the chamber.
Yeah.
So if I saw someone at my door or I knew someone was in my house, first thing I'd do is grab a Mossberg and then rack it.
Yeah.
And I'd want them to hear it.
Absolutely.
And then I'd be like, is anyone in the house? See, I don't know what to do, but here's what I would do. Give me this scenario and I'll tell you what I would do.
All right. You hear like a break, possibly a window. You hear some stuff ruffling around downstairs. And
I have a one story.
Okay. You hear some stuff rustling around in the kitchen area, living room area.
Okay.
And that's it. What do you do?
I wake up, grab the Mossberg, rack it, take it off safety, and turn on the flashlight that's on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I start walking outside. Now, if I see any movement, I'm going to hit the strobe and I'm going to freaking say, stop where you are. And hopefully they don't flee. If they do flee, that's okay. I'm not firing.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone. Threat's over.
Mm-hmm.
If I see them coming towards me in any way, I'm blowing them up.
So you want my advice on that?
Yeah. Because I always wondered, like, what would happen? Would the cops come over and not blame me? Or would I, like, be in handcuffs and questioned? It's like, look, this guy broke into my house. I wake up in the middle of the night. He's in my kitchen. I tell him to leave. I got a shotgun in my hand and a strobe light in his fucking face. Mm-hmm. And if no one's ever heard of that, that's just my own little touch. But at the end of the day, it's disorienting.
It is.
And you're behind it, so it doesn't really affect you too much. But at the end of the day, I always wondered, like, what would happen? Because if the guy aggressively came towards me with all of that going on, I automatically fear for my life. Why? You got to be a complete fucking crazy person to not run in that scenario. So if you're in my house, I understand you're hungry, you're a fucking criminal, you're looking to steal some shit. But once you are confronted and you don't give a rat's ass that you've been confronted and now you're going to physically confront, I'm pulling the trigger, putting a hole in his chest.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like, after that, explain to the cops what happened. Take it for what it is. I'm not waiting to find out what's going to happen.
I would say that you are in that scenario.
You think I should, you mean?
No, I think that you are waiting way too long. Now, every state legalities are different, right? Like, every state, you need to know what the laws of that state are. And we could have an offline conversation about that and where your houses are or whatever. In the state of Illinois, for example, and Illinois is actually kind of friendly to the gun owner in some regards, like in self-defense. So first, if I heard a noise like that, and I felt pretty confident somebody was breaking in, I wouldn't recommend that you turn the light on the gun. I would recommend that you, wherever that fatal funnel zone is established, like, do you have a hallway leading to your room or the staircase, or you single story? So I would just recommend that you sit in your doorway and you have that gun pointed down that hallway. Then if you see any dark, shadowy figures enter that fatal funnel zone, you immediately hit the light. You're looking at hands. What's in their hands? You're looking at waist. Are they reaching for something? Or are their hands hidden around their waist? And then you're looking at face. You're really just doing this in this instant in the state of Illinois. You're just doing it to make sure it's not like your neighbor with dementia or like a drunk young dude or something like that ended up in the wrong house. Otherwise, I'm pulling the trigger. Because there's...
It would sound like this.
No. Not in the state of Illinois. That's an illegal gun.
Would it sound like this?
Maybe.
No, because that means you missed.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know. I think more of a shotgun. I
but
like
you know
shotguns.
You know what it sounds like to them?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it, lights out. And there's a movie with Gerard Butler. It's like Good Citizen or something like that. You ever see that movie?
I think so.
And the opening scene of that movie is ring on the doorbell. He answers the door. He gets cracked in the face with a baseball bat. His wife gets raped and murdered in front of him, and his little girl gets murdered in front of him. Dude, if you're breaking into somebody's home, it is not up to that homeowner, that family man, that family woman to discern if you're there to do that or not. You've already crossed that threshold. And in the state of Illinois, the way that the law reads is that if it's reasonable to believe that they are committing a felony within the state of Illinois, and I know some legal experts are going to start chiming in on the comments, whatever, I don't really care, then you could use justified lethal self-defense. Outside of the home, it must be what's known as a forcible felony, and this is why it's important to know your state laws. I also use the USCCA, I really do. And there's a bunch of different insurance, self-defense insurance people out there. I know the lawyer from my region, dude's solid. You know, I talk to them regularly. I consult with some legal professionals to make sure I'm not teaching the wrong stuff. But dude, I would never tell somebody to leave my house. I would never announce myself unless they were outside of the house trying to break in. But if they're inside, dude, I'm holding down that fatal funnel. The moment I see any movement, I'm putting on that flashlight just to get a quick sight picture. I don't know you. You're giving me that vibe.
You're done.
I mean, and it sucks. Let me be very clear about that. It sucks killing a human being. It sucks seeing dead bodies. It's not fucking cool. It's a waste of life. It's a waste of potential. And I don't want to be the person to judge somebody because I've broken into houses. That could have easily been me. But I'm also not going to risk my family. Because now imagine you shine the light and you say, get out of here, and they just shoot you in the head. Well, who else is in the house now? Because I'm already going to jail, prison for murder. And that scares me more than anything.
Yeah, so might as well finish off all the witnesses.
Or do whatever and then finish off the witnesses. And that shit happens, dude. I tell people, talk to a 911 operator. 911 operators out there, mad respect. They deal with so much stuff. They're the first person to get a call when
someone's freaking.
Mommy's drowning my brother and sister in the toilet or the tub, right? Like, and they'll tell you, America is so well constructed in terms of emergency response. I mean, you could literally have a murder on the side of the road pending the investigation. It's like it never happened an hour later. So don't get mixed up. Don't be paranoid in life. Just simply prepare yourself so you don't have to worry about this shit. Like, it's really, really simple, but people just want to stick their head in the sand,
So describe I think it's everybody, but just for the listeners, who should most, who are you really looking for to reach out to you?
Yeah. Like you said, it really should be everybody. Because I have this idea that if I know how to look out for myself and you know how to look out for yourself, well, now we can look out for each other. And if we can look out for each other, well, that's how communities and societies become safe. And when we do that, we can realize most people are good people. Evil will stand out a lot more obviously to us. And it draws us into the present moment. So really anybody who wants to live a more fulfilled, worry-free lifestyle, that's who it's for. I do get a lot of young fathers, single mothers, mostly who reach out to consult me, or even married women. Married women is actually more than single moms. Yeah.
Now where's I notice you don't have a training system web address here. Where do people go to your virtual training system?
Yeah. So joemalonetraining.com.
Is that where it is?
There'll be a pop-up window that's on there. We're still in the pre-release right now. So
I know, but still at the end of the day, I want them to know, like, there's on demand.
Yep.
This isn't a 2-day workshop in Arizona. It's
right.
On demand, interactive training.
And there's a community too, like in the Lightspeed platform where people share experiences.
And I'm sure like once they're in that, there might be, live events and workshops and, weekends and shit. But I'm talking about like, if people were to say, hey man, I need to get myself prepared for my family, they go to joemalonetraining.com.
Yeah.
joemalonetraining.com. Dude, incredible.
Thanks, man.
I like your background only because dude, more extreme, but it sounds like a little bit like me, a little bit. I can understand a little bit where you've been.
Well, dude, I mean, your story resonated with me, man. And I'm sure you hear this a lot, but dude, you have been influencing a lot of lives, and it hasn't all been like hunky dory up since I got out and realigned my mind, right? Like I've made money, lost money, like put myself, my family in like crazy debt situations, trying to like learn this whole business thing. And it was actually through that process that you helped me out a lot, man. Like learning about your experiences and learning that, hey, I need to just stay focused on what I could positively influence. And that's drastically helped me a lot, man. So I think, I thank you for that. Absolutely. 100%. I don't know if I'd be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for the things that you put out there.
Well, that's, again, number one, thank you for that. But, sometimes I don't feel like what I'm putting out there is like that life-changing, only because, I've learned it. And once you learn something, it becomes like, well, yeah, everybody knows that. And you forget that there's people they haven't learned that yet.
Yeah.
And if you can learn from someone else's mistake, it's 10 times better than learning from your own.
Dude, that's how I feel about the stuff that I'm putting out. Well, everybody knows about deterrence and detection and home defense. You talk to Caroline, the biggest issue I've had so far has been, is this worth it? Like, is this even like good material? And everybody, in your organization, I thought they were just like pumping me up and like, no, it's good stuff. Okay, they're just saying that. But the more I hear from other people, especially on social media, which I would have never been on if it wasn't for, last year is when I really started doing it. But people will reach out and they'll say, hey, I never knew that. Never thought about that. I'm like, all right, cool. Keeps me on
part
the
of
right
our
track.
part of what we do for our clients, dude, is show you how to build a massive personal brand.
Yeah.
So how many followers you at right now?
On Instagram, 5,000.
See? So again, like I said, you're just a brand new on the scene.
Yeah.
Folks, go follow this dude. You follow him on Instagram, Joseph_Malone_official. That's where you should follow him mostly.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like Instagram better.
Yeah, me neither. Wes Watson turned me on Instagram. So maybe that's kind of why I've never been on social media before.
Did you do his program?
Oh yeah.
Good, because like he knows how to do it, and I've seen him show people how to do it. And dude, they had no history at all, and they just did what he said. Next thing you know, dude, they're doing it, and to a nice degree. Yeah. Those packages, you got to get all those created. But folks, go check it out, JoeMaloneTraining.com. Go follow him, Joseph_Malone_official. And as always, till next time, keep it real. Thanks for coming in, dude.
Thanks, Brad.